Hello, good evening. I would like to share you a few insights about the Bechukotai portion, and here we arrive to the last chapter within the Vayikra, the third book, and we are starting something new. Let's close the Vayikra, Bechukotai. אם בחוקותיי תלכו ואת מצוותיי תשמרו ועשיתם אותם. If you walk in my statutes and keep my commandments, add to them, so what will happen? So it is always first following the straight path, whether it is like in mathematics or in life as well, because it is the simplest and the quickest way to achieve our goals. So it is important that we have to be aware of our goals and the direction that we are heading. So in that we do not get lost along the way. So this is why the following quote is found in the Torah: "Im bechukotai tehu," if you follow my laws. So if we follow God's guidance, we walk straight and righteous paths. Mitzvotai tishmeru, you keep my commandments. If we observe God's commandments, the Torah and the mitzvot, they illuminate and aid our journey. So the path may be long, filled with darkness and challenges, but the light of the mitzvot makes it easier to find the right direction. So those who do not keep the mitzvot and do not follow God's commandments are in the more difficult situation because their path is not illuminated by the mitzvah lamps. The mitzvot are helping us to see the path. So thus they walk in the darkness. So therefore, it is important to preserve the mitzvot from generation to generation. Keeping the mitzvot brings countless benefits. Each mitzvah brings light to our path filled with darkness. So according to the wisdom of King Solomon, that it says, "V'acham einav uberosho v'kistir b'choshech holech v'yadati ki yadati gam ani shemikre echad ikara et kulam." The wise man has eyes in his head, but the fool walks in the darkness. But I also know that the same fate overtakes them both. So King Solomon considered it foolish for someone, by their own choice, not to walk on the path that is illuminated by the mitzvot, because the path is full of challenges, temptations, spiritual and physical obstacles. So these situations and circumstances prevent us from getting closer to God. So if the mitzvah lamps do not illuminate our way, it will be harder to decide what is right and what is wrong. So thus we can get lost in our paths, like in the labyrinth. So Torah promises that if we follow the path, we will be rewarded, for example, if the form of rain, which is a sign of natural blessing, or other blessings. So the verse is for rain, for instance, in Hebrew it is Geshem, and the physical it is Gashmiut, coming from the same root. So rain, it is important because plants and soils are needing it, and thus animals and people are also benefiting from it. So if we follow the Torah and the mitzvot, we bring spiritual light, energy to ourselves, and the word illuminating our own path and contributing to the collective tikkun as well. ונתתי משכני בתוכם, ולא תגאל נפשי איתכם. And I will set my tabernacle among you, my soul shall not be abhor you. So here is Mishkanei, my tabernacle. So this is referring for the Shekhinah, which accompanies and protects the Jewish people. So the spiritual level of the people may fluctuate. Sometimes it is higher and sometimes it is lower, but the Shekhinah is always supporting Bnei Israel. So when the spiritual level is lower and the supportive energy of the Shekhinah is more difficult to transmit to the Jewish people because of the Tumah, the impurity. So that envelops the consciousness of the people and makes it harder to receive positive and constructive things. In such times, the people are in the spiritual exile, as if the Shekhinah has turned its face away, although it is present and radiates elsewhere. So the Shekhinah is there constantly, but it's not radiating towards those times and in those people that having more Tumah at that time. It is like when we do not notice something in the right in front of us. At that such time, It is as if something covers our consciousness. ונתתי משכני בתוכם, and I will set my tabernacle among you. When the people are on a spiritual heights, experiencing moments of joy and happiness, feeling close to the divine, the Creator. In such time, the Shekhinah also turns toward us. When it turns away, those are the moment of the exile and the spiritual decline. So during such times, we gather those crumbs with every mitzvah and the Torah study. Although the Shekhinah is present, it is harder for us to access energy. But the time comes from nothing to prevent a complete connection between the Shekhinah and the Jewish people, that they have this intimate relationship that will develop. So this unity will be perfect and nothing will disrupt. So here, אני השם אלוקיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם עבדים ושבת מוטות עליכם והולך איתכם קוממיות. I'm God who brought out of the land of Egypt. Ye shall not be their bondmen, and I have broken the bars of your yoke and made you go upright. Just as the divine saved the Jewish people from Egypt, with symbolizing an exile. So this is one of the exiles and the impurity. So he longs to save the Jewish people again and restore the Shekhinah in its full light. והתחלקתי בתוככם והייתי לכם לאלוקים ואתם תהיו לי לעם. And I will walk among you and be your God, and ye shall be my people. So this we can see that how much the Creator is dedicated to the Jewish people. The Torah wants to rebel against the Creator and to strive to observe the mitzvot. All the sufferings we experience actually stems from the goodness of the Creator and serves our growth. So receive these trials because we have strayed from the right path, and somehow we must recognize this error. So this recognition may be consecutive of this life or previous ones. אף אני אעשה זאת לכם והפקדתי עליכם והעלת את המשפט ואת הקדחה מקולות העיניים ומדיבות נפש וזרעתכם לריק זרעכם והלכו אויביכם. And I also will do this unto you. I will appoint error over you, even consumption and fever that shall make the eyes to fail and the soul to languish. And ye shall sow your seed in vain, for the enemies shall eat it. מקולות עיניים ומדובות נפש. They shall make the eyes to fail and the soul to languish. Okay, if we take the first letters of the words maklom, like mem, inayim, ayin, medivot, vav, nefesh, nun, we get the word me'avon, meaning sins. Okay, when we experience physical sufferings, we immediately go to a doctor. But what if we reflected on why we reflecting within ourselves, why we receive this suffering, why it is coming upon me? In what aspect, basically, do we need to improve for this to become our punishment? Okay, so this is how we have to think about these many situations, which is not a proper term because of punishment. It is a driving force, basically, to indicate we need to take some actions in our life. During our suffering or in situation where we feel negativity, if it would be better if we started to look within ask these questions. So this way we would better understand the spiritual situation we have found ourselves. So illness is also a form of tumah, the state of impurity of the physical plane, which should make us ponder why we should suffer. So we shouldn't immediately run for painkillers to feel nothing. So feeling is good is feeling this. So everything that if we sense something bad, okay, it's easy that we have feelings. It is a good sign because it makes us aware of our problems. If we wouldn't be feeling, we didn't know what is good or what is bad. So when we feel deeply lost, it is possible that the moment of repentance will come. So that will bring us to closer to the Creator and initiating our spiritual healing. So those who do not engage in such questions will not get closer to anything related to holiness or energy. So Chazal is saying that for those who have strayed from the right path are if they are dead person. So it doesn't count as a living creature. Their life is far from holiness on a different plane, and therefore they cannot connect. On the other hand, we know that the tzaddikim, the righteous people, after leaving the earthly world and moving on from the physical, they are still connected as alive. This is because they are close to the kedusha, the holiness, and they are considered even more alive than those that have lost their connection to a creator. So that is something interesting. The suffering moments, basically the physical body for the force adds to the spirit, and that is elevating it to seek improvement. When a righteous person improves their spiritual state through a suffering, it is as if the spirit leaves the body and finds peace, achieving this Zen balanced state. ושברתי את גאון וסכם ונתתי עם שמיכם כברזל ואת ארצם כנחושה. And I will break the pride of your power, and I will make you heaven as iron and your earth as brass. ושברתי את גאון וסכם, I will break the pride of your power. So here, what caused the destruction of the temple, basically? The negative examples of human behavior, such as pride and arrogance, as well as an exaggerated sense of our self-importance. So people believe that they could continue this behavior without the temple, the place of holiness, being effective. So they thought that since the Shekhinah is always with Israel, nothing could happen to them, even if they were heading in a negative direction. However, in the long run, this couldn't be true, and they had this is the reason why the temple was destroyed. וזכרתי את בריתי יעקב ואף את בריתי יצחק ואף את בריתי אברהם יזכור והארץ יזכור. Then will I remember my covenant with Jacob and also my covenant with Yitzchak and also my covenant with Abraham. Will I remember, and I will remember the land. So the Hebrew word Bechukotai means my statutes or in my ordinance. If we do not obey the commandments of the Creator, we will receive punishment from God. So we do not like to receive such commandments, and they are very uncomfortable for us. In this passage, obedience and compliance or non-compliance can be evaluated through several indicators. So the Jewish people, to do this, they await the period of redemption, which will only come if we remove the evil and negativity from our lives. It is specially mentioned that the Eternal will initiate and the redemption amidst chaos. So every unpleasant moment we experience should serve as a reminder that the Eternal will save his people. So we have in the word Yaakov, we find here an extra verb. So generally, Jacob, it's written with a hidden holam. So this thought comes from the name of the prophet Elijah. So previously we had Eliyahu with a vav, and then it becoming Elijah. Eliyahu represents the important connection between the Jewish people and the Creator. According to tradition, it was Pinchas himself was the prophet Eliyahu. From the biblical story, we know that Pinchas saved his people through self-sacrifice. That time he recognized the source of the plague and ended it by killing Zimri and Cosbi, for which he received Briti HaShalom, covenant of peace. The prophet Eliyahu will be on the through whom the Messianic times will usher in. So the Vav in Jacob referring to Eliyahu and his covenant, a spiritual force and connection. The Vav is always like linking element through which redemption will be realized. I mentioned that redemption will inevitably occur under chaotic circumstances, meaning it will be difficult for us to truly pay attention. I believe I'm not alone in this experiencing that most people, they have really trouble being present at the here and now. More and more things are trying to distract from what we truly need to focus on. So this state of beginning, of example, will surround the redemption, perhaps in an even more extreme form. As time progresses, as you'll have to face increasingly difficult conditions. So this is, I'm just letting you to know, and see you next week. Thank you. Bye bye.